Hi everyone, my name is Penny and I have been making this series about moon signs to help explain our emotions. The moon changes signs every 2.5 days, so you need to know your exact time of birth and use a natal chart calculator in order to be sure of this. Now for Moon in Virgo, what's important is being able to notice other people's reactions to what's going on, and they want other people to be perceptive in that same manner. They want things to go as expected and planned. They need to have productive hobbies. They really don't like it when they feel that there's been some type of negligence towards them, being ignored in some way. Like if no one sees what's bothering them or no one cares to pay attention. They tend to map out the way that they expect for everything to go in life, and a lot of times they will expect to get something in return for what they give. And if they don't get what they expected, that can be hurtful to them. And sometimes it's just things didn't work out as planned, and they feel like they were cheated in some way. So it is important to have that extra bit of communication and ask them what it is that they are wanting, because they do have a tendency to not really say what they want. When they're first hurt by something, they will try to debate whether or not it's actually justified for them to feel that way. If they don't think it makes sense, and they don't think it makes them a good, righteous person to be feeling this emotion that they are currently feeling, then they will try to deny it, push it back, and suppress it. They often refuse to actually realize how badly they've been hurt because they try to talk themselves through everything. But a lot of times the internal discussions can be more like arguments, with one side of you, the emotional side, really being more suppressed and you trying to rule it out with rationality, and this energy can turn into anxiety. Another problem with this is that sometimes they will come up with explanations that are simply not true. They will come up with they will come up with an explanation for why they are upset that makes more sense and is more rational than why they are actually upset. It's almost like they'll forget to just follow their intuition and follow the feeling and recognize it for what it is. And they try to drown it out with all this rationality, and they end up turning it into something it really is not. An example would be that we have someone with Moon in Virgo who is into polygamy. They like to have multiple partners, and they approve of their partner having multiple partners. And by all logic, that makes sense to them, and that is fair. But one day they find themselves feeling jealous about their partner paying attention to someone else. And they try to make sense of it because they're like, okay, well, I agreed to this, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it, and I don't understand why I would be jealous. So instead they start coming up with things about that person that are just in horrible error, and they say that that's why they're offended by some political view or some action that this person did, rather than the fact that it was just like a normal human emotion. Moon in Virgo needs meditative practices in order to clear their heads. They might feel that working or crafting does this for them, but things like yoga, actual sitting and meditating, and coloring, anything that's good for clearing your head, going for a jog, these can all be very good options. Knowing why other people do the things that they do is also helpful to them, but I'm warning you not to try and rationalize everything too much, because you have a tendency towards this, and this is your way of running from your emotions. So I think you need to allow yourself to just feel it for what it is and realize it's okay for me to have emotions. It's okay for me to not be perfect and to not always make sense. Because by trying to always make sense, by trying to always be a perfect emotional or emotionless creature, you instead are making less sense because you are throwing a bunch of added complications on top of everything. Rather than just seeing it for the simple thing it was, you pile other issues on top of it and you cover it up and you bury it. Their personality is reserved, introverted, and deliberate in their actions. They carefully choose what they're going to do, how they're going to do it. They usually enjoy or even have a need for physical labor like woodworking and stuff like that. I would say that they're perfectionists as well. They notice a lot of flaws in the world and everything around them, and I think on an emotional level, they're really bothered by these flaws. Like they can't leave it alone if everything is not completely smoothed out. Anyway, I hope you guys liked the video. Share it if you find it useful. Stay tuned for everything else I have in store on my channel, and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye, everybody.